So we have been talking about the lie of Christian fatalism, that everything is determined and we don't have really any influence on life. And of course, Christian prayer is a contraindication of that, obviously, that there is such a thing, that it's encouraged in the New Testament. Old Testament saints were praying not with that mindset either. Also, that the New Testament constantly urges, tries to convince, exhorts us to right decisions, not just, well, it's going to be the way it's going to be, not that attitude at all, but something more beautiful, a personal responsibility and a personal walk of decisions with God. And that is a very powerful message indeed. Welcome to this morning's simple truth from the Word of God. And we said that when a believer accepts the lie that fatalism is true, then that believer, you know, much like when the merry-go-round spins too fast and the chain snaps and you just swing off in a tangent, fly off, that's one lying direction where you become passive in your relationship with God, and that would be terrible. But there is another direction also. You can fly in the opposite direction, and that's something else that we have been mentioning, that a believer can have the concept that they are meant to understand the entirety of God's plan, and that they are meant to be able to formulate it and explain it to everyone. Spoiler alert, not. That's just not the picture that we have in the Bible. We read Isaiah 55, 6 through 9. I'm not going to read it again. But the point is this, that many believers waste incredible amounts of energy and capacity and time trying to explain all of God's dealings with them. And, and of course, yeah, it's understandable. We understand that. But it becomes something else very quickly. We try to explain God's ways, and maybe we are attacked with some questions from unbelieving friends and relatives, family members who say, "Where is your God now?" And that's not a question that deserves an answer, to be honest. That's not an honest question. That's not a helpful question. That's not an interested question. You don't need to try to answer that question. God is where He is, and you are where you are in relationship to Him, regardless of that evil thought that was just thrown at you. But instead, here is a question: what do I need to be able to grasp of Him, and how does this work? Because the challenge is this: not just that I would understand what God is thinking and why God has done this, but also can I put it in a socially and culturally acceptable form for everyone? And that shows that this is all about public pressure to give an acceptable answer. And we're not charged with giving an acceptable answer to them, one that fits into their frame of mind. We are charged with seeking God and knowing Him and accepting what He has for us and having an answer in our hearts, with a lot of meekness, of course. But when we read in 2 Samuel 12, 22 and 23 that David has lost his child, then we see something very powerful. He says, "Now he's dead, wherefore should I fast? Can I bring him back again? I shall go to him, but he shall not come to me." David was capable of accepting God's will even if it didn't please him. I'm going to quote from something that I can't believe. I'm quoting from a rock opera. I was not a believer. I was watching this performance, and there is this young king mourning his father, the previous king who has passed away, and he didn't want him to pass. He doesn't feel ready, and he says, in mourning and in pain, in prayer to God, he says, "Holy is the will that can make such a decision." And I remember I was not a believer, but I could not believe those words, because I've never heard words like that before. That I'm gonna trust God despite that I hate this. And I never in my life heard that. Yeah, that was just a performance, but still, it stuck with me. And David here is saying kind of the same thing. And in our lives, this is a very, very powerful thing when we can say, all right, God, you don't seem to feel the necessity to explain this to me, but I'm just going to trust you because you're my God. and I don't like it. And I have made that clear to you. I have prayed, I have told you, I was honest about it, I was angry at you, whatever. But now I am going to just accept it, because your will is greater than mine, and that's where I rest. And that is a beautiful place of rest. God bless you. God bless your day with that.